So now we turn our attention to a topic that is not only relevant, but also deeply transformative, the role of innovation competitions in shaping the future of entrepreneurship. At first glance, these competitions may appear to be about recognition, about prizes, applause, and rankings. But if we look closer, we see that they do so much more. They bring together young scientists. They create platforms for collaboration, and then they build bridges between students, academia, industry, and society. From a single idea pitched in competition, we often see networks emerged and entire ecosystems ignited. So, as chair of this panel, I look forward to exploring with our distinguished speakers how these competitions help cultivate entrepreneurial mindsets, how they serve as launchpads for innovation, and how they ultimately contribute to build a more resilient and dynamic future. So, let's begin. Professor Aivaliotis, I would like to start with you. Competitions like iGEM have gained global attention as platforms that inspire young researchers and students. So I would like to ask you firstly, how do competitions like these help transform fundamental research into innovative applications with entrepreneurial potential?
So thank you very much, Irini. Thank you very much for the kind invitation to participate in this very important for academics roundtable. So how? There are many ways that they help us to transform fundamental research into something which is innovative. First of all, they provide the framework, how to do it, especially in an academic institution like our institution, where we don't have undergraduate or postgraduate clear ways to do this transformation. We are somehow forced by our participation in such a competition to do that. So for me, it was really new in 2019 that I started this. And we have the framework, especially iGEM has everything that somebody needs to go stepwise towards that direction. It's a synthetic biology competition. So you take already ready parts of biology and try to combine them in a way that you have a solution to a global or a local problem. So you start from the solution, the problem. First of the problem, then the solution, and then try to design the way to produce something that will provide this solution. So the next thing, apart from the framework and the procedures, is that such a competition has supporters, has mentors, has experts from different disciplines that you require, from market, from academia, from industry, everything. And they have also supporters regarding materials, methods, everything. They even have training material. So you have the time, you have the efforts, you do the efforts, and you have the means to do that. And by participating in such a competition, you don't have excuses, and you have a time framework. Because sometimes you would like to do something, but you say, okay, I will do it. And you don't have a deadline, or you don't have something that stresses you to do it. So by having a participation in such a competition, you have a deadline. You have a time, a plan that you have to follow, and you have to find the means to do it. And then regarding our academic institution, the help that we, this experience made us form inside our institution the modules. So the professors, the PIs, the students, and it's excellent because we could have students from different disciplines. What we are still missing is financial and market experts, even law experts. We need them because they believe that they don't fit in synthetic biology, but they do fit, and we would like to have them in the future. So these are the basic elements that I think that help us to overcome this difficulty from fundamental to innovative solutions. And one limitation sometimes is that our students are aware of the Death Valley, and they are afraid to do this transformation.
Thank you. From your experience, have you seen teams make the leap from the competition to creating a biotech startup company? And in those cases, what do you think made the difference?
So the difference So regarding examples, I don't have. Globally, there are some examples from the IGEM competition because the competition itself has a follow-up procedure. If you have a successful participation, they guide you to go further and have the step to have a startup or to do different next steps that are required for innovation. In our case, we still have the problem to go ahead, and our university would like to do that. That's why the last years we have support from the Technology Transfer Office to help us to do that and to make us think the competition not as a way to have a prize or a CV line that make us to have an opportunity in the next career step, but an experience and a way to build our idea to go further into innovative solution. So in our case, we didn't do that yet, but now we try to do that. And actually it starts before the competition. So we have to choose an idea that we believe and we have the commitment to continue with this after the prize and after the competition.
Right, idea is the first step, yeah. So we continue with Maria Christina. As IGEM Ambassador Greece, you have extensive experience in IGEM competition. So I would like to ask you firstly, how did IGEM competition help you cultivate your entrepreneurial mindset?
That's a great question. For me personally, I did have some experience before the competition, but I think the competition really gave me a better view on what entrepreneurship is. I think it gave me the opportunity to see that science can be beyond the lab, that it can go beyond the lab, and you can create potentially a viable product or a service through this competition. I would say it also gave me the key components to make this transition. What I will need, the problem that I will need to solve, and then see if how I'm going to validate this problem that I have and the solution that I'm going to, have and I'm going to create, and then also move to steps like funding, stakeholders, and then eventually scalability and how that's going to happen. And then I think something also that was very key for me was the chance I had. It gave us an opportunity to see how a research question can become a business opportunity, and how I had a safe environment to thrive and to try and to experiment, and yes, potentially fail, but I would still have learned so many great advices from people that I would have talked with. Yeah.
Great, thank you. And I would like you what was the one key lesson that you learned from IGEM competition and want to share?
I think there were so many, actually, that we learned. I think one key element and one lesson I kept was the collaboration. We've talked in this conference how collaboration is key in the biotech industry, and I think through IGEM you can really cultivate that. You will have to get out of your comfort zone, talk to people, network. You will need to have resilience because you will talk with a lot of people. And I would say it's very interesting how many people are willing to help you. If you find the right person, you ask the right questions, you will receive feedback, and people will be willing to be there with you. So you can create your confidence on your scientific skills and that you can actually make it work in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. So we continue with Mr. Thimianidis. Mr. Thimianidis, as someone who founded GreenWave, you bring first-hand experience of building a team into a startup. So I would like to ask you, what was the initial spark that led you to found a biotech team on its way to becoming a startup?
Thank you very much. Okay, do you hear me? Okay. Dear Moderator, fellow speakers, organizers of BioInnovation Greece, it's a great pleasure being here among you and among these panelists to discuss today in this special roundtable that I hope that makes us think and reshape how to delve deeper into these competitions and go beyond these prizes. Before practically answering to the question made, I would like to shortly add some notes that in the beginning, and it's a sure thing that the emergence of biotechnology competitions, and not only, has transformed the way that ideas really move from lab to the market, as previously said, something that we many times called from going from bench to bedside. Events such as the item competition, earlier described, have been called the birthplace of innovation. And as a first-hand experience, having won a gold medal in this worldwide event, I can easily confirm that as a situation. Now, moving to the question made, I remember myself always being a student, questioning all the small and all the big whys, something like the gold circle of Simon Sinek, you may know. And through these whys, I tried to reshape the way that I would like to think, get involved into the science. Shaping this power into action made me apply to every innovation challenge ever existed. And actually, the first one I applied was also the beginning of our small success story, not the item one. The next one regarding my background. I'm coming from molecular biology and genetics department at the Faculty of Health Science at Moguls University of Thrace. And 2 years ago was actually the starting point of our success story because hopefully our faculty decided to establish its first innovation hub called Think. And through this innovation hub enabled the first innovation challenge. And the funny part about my story is that when I first came across the application form, there were actually two fields. The first one was about, do you have an idea? And I said, not at all. The second one was, do you have a team? Again, none. So I was almost ironic on that. And at the moment, there was nothing concrete, as you can easily understand, no plan, not even collaborators. What existed was only a small feeling that maybe something could be born if I dared to step into this world. And that is how the journey started. Figuratively and literally, because the competition was happening 100 kilometers away from my hometown, actually in Xanthi. And so early in the morning, with far too much caffeine in my brain, I was on the bus scrolling through LinkedIn, and that's when I stumbled upon a cell paper telling us that actually plants do communicate. It was actually collaboration between an Israeli institution. I point out the fact that Israeli ecosystem actually is doing well in the biotech sector, as we were talking about the previous days, and a collaboration between MIT. The night before, I had been reading a Greek newspaper with a front page story of the big success story of Augmenta. Actually, I would like to point out the biotech regarding not only health sciences, but agriculture. So, I hope to stay with me on that. And the agritech startup became a national startup example and achieved a major exit. Some of you may have invested in the audience. And in that moment, it was that the spark of idea appeared. If others were focusing on seeing the plants acting on their code and their color, we were trying to hear to them and listen to them. And here comes the next why, if I would like to put it in a story, like, is there actually a reason to listen to the plants? But this is actually another part of the story. If you are interested enough, catch me up later to have a discussion on that. So this competition team from the first innovation challenge, we had upcoming challenges, entrepreneurial challenges, and we made it to be included in this year's Forbes 20 and the 30 list for 2025. And so this is pretty much our journey, moving up from a university-like competition with some effort becoming a startup venture.
Okay, thank you. In your view, what is the biggest obstacle for a Greek biotech team on its way to becoming a startup? Access to capital, infrastructure, or the market?
That's actually a really nice question, and I think it's the main question of this year's Bio3 Forum, actually. I listened a lot. people answering to this, and I will not move a lot from what has already been said. I think we do have to build a plan, and we do have to build a process. Think it as a whole process of an ecosystem. And I say that because we must be sure that these competitions can indeed be the engines of transformation, innovation to the whole Greek innovation ecosystem. And what an ecosystem needs to thrive and not only survive, not only following the changes and the innovation, is what already said, I think, on Tuesday, consistency among all stakeholders involved. We have to be continuously involved and keep trying to build a solid ecosystem. So if I must give a specific answer to your question, we have to consider that biotech is not like a digital startup, as earlier said in the previous panel, where you can validate an idea with a laptop or a simple interconnection. You need labs, you need equipment, you need consumables, regulatory approvals many times. All of this requires some upfront investment before you can even begin showing some traction. At the same time, the challenge is not only the money. In Greece, the infrastructure is also fragmented. Although we have some exceptional researchers, institutions in Greece doing excellent job, when it comes to market, many Greek biotech teams are forced to look abroad from day one. It's something that also we are trying to do these times, because the domestic ecosystem is still small and risk-averse. So, in the conclusion, the real picture is that all three obstacles are real interconnected. Lack of capital, it's like a black circle that already going. Lack of capital makes it difficult to secure infrastructure, and limited market opportunities make investors many times more hesitant. So, by participating to some competitions like IGEM or innovation competitions, you tend to have the potential to overcome these obstacles and make, some investors believe in you, even in the early stage, even in the process of having a proof of concept making or an MVP making.
Thanks. Of course.
Hey, Yiannis, I 100% agree with what you said. A pleasure to be here with you as well and everybody. I would say mentality is really important. It's something that, we have to change in a way or another here in Greece. I'm comparing, obviously, to the United States where, entrepreneurship has been, for decades there. So I think it's important to be able to believe in yourself, have confidence, and just go for it, right? Don't be... I see a lot of hesitancy. I know the infrastructure is different, fragmented, as you said. The ecosystem is different. But I believe we have all the talent in the world in Greece, to be able to do it. And I see and I hope that change begins here through this BioInnovation Greece event, right? So it's about the mentality, first, of the participants, number one. Number two, the mentality of the society, if you may, in terms of being able to hug, this bold move. It's difficult to start a business. It's not easy. It takes a lot of courage. So we need to be able to think about it in a very constructive way, very positive way, and be able to understand that it's one of the biggest challenges in the world to do it. And if there is a failure, good. All right, fail fast, move on. Okay.
Yes, indeed, the challenges for a Greek biotech team are far more, but I believe there is a hope. So we continue with Mr. Varsos. Mr. Varsos, turning to you now from the perspective of strategy and investment, I would like to ask you, what attracts you as an investor to teams that have participated in biotechnology and innovation competitions?
Yeah, thank you again. I have to say here that I'm going to share perspectives from 2.5 sides, right? Number one side, I've been in the shoes. Some people here in the competition. I took part in the Venture Creation Weekend. It was organized by the Business School of the University of Cambridge in England, AstraZeneca and Google, and we won the second place award. So I've seen that through as a participant. And the key learning there, since we are here, was to don't be afraid to go out, get dirty, understand the market, talk to people, do your research, so number one. Second side, as a judge at several competitions and as a mentor and career coach as well, I see, this big push to be able to understand what the person needs, and the participant, the student, and help them with all the tools that they need in order to move forward. The have side, as an investor. Obviously, we are talking here at a very, very, very early stage. We're talking about ideation. I've been in the similar shoes, where we didn't have not even an idea, not even a team, nothing, absolutely nothing. We're just strangers, And in 3 days, we managed to create something and won the second place award, So I think from my perspective, it's about being able to see some fresh views, some understanding, with AI obviously coming into place, things have changed, but obviously, there needs to be a lot of components under consideration here, just not invest in a buzzword. But as an investor, it's way, way, way too early. It gives us a hint, a signal that you have, some young talents trying to create something new, which is fantastic, which is great. And I think it's an opportunity there to be able to mentor them, understand who they are and what they can do, Obviously, as an investor, you want to be as early as possible, much earlier than anybody else, but it's way too early. So I think the big value here is to, mentor the participants and, give them understanding, of what we'll be looking for as an investor, as investors overall, which is what, understand, the problem, as many people have said here before, you don't have to hear it from me first on the last day of the conference, understand the markets and, create a team. And then, show that you can build something, step and step and step. I believe in incremental change, so you don't have to change from one day into another in dramatic fashion. Just so, as a founder, for example, through the competition, that you have a good understanding, you have a willingness to learn, to get feedback, and just move ahead and, be relentless.
Thank you very much. So one more question to you. What difference do you see in the maturity of a biotech or life science startup that has gone through such competition compared to one that hasn't?
That's a great question. I think there are a lot of competitions available, and I think it's important to get some quality advice. And this is all about, the network effect, right? So I think the network effect, which can happen through the competition and what's coming after that, through accelerate programs, incubators, etc., it's really important. For me, the network, is an untapped opportunity that a lot of people miss. It's not just about participating in a competition, winning competition, and do nothing. It's about what comes after. So I do see a significant difference overall. People, and companies, startup companies can read everything, online. They can ask ChatGPT as much as they want, but if they not go ahead, and do it themselves and get, some good quality advice from the mentor, all the experts that are part of the competition, what comes after, they're going to lose on a significant value. So to answer your question, in long story short, I think it's tremendous value, to be part of this competition. And I think it's something it's really valuable as well from the investors. If you see that someone has won first, second, or, have been in a competition and they won some kind of award, participate and they learned and they see all the experts that have advised them, that's really big value. It's a point of reference, a first point of reference. So I would advise everybody who's thinking here of starting something, go for competition. That's a very, very first step that you can do. And as I said, on Wednesday, there's a lot of brain power, in Greece and also, abroad. So use it to your advantage through the competition. So
I agree with you. So at this point, I would like to open a third question to all our panelists. If you could share one key lesson from your own field, whether in research, investment, or entrepreneurship, about going beyond the price, what would it be?
May I start?
Of course.
Actually, many lessons were mentioned before, so I will start with a provocative one. They don't like it. My students believe that I'm a loser when I say that. Don't go for the prize. Go for the experience and for reviewing. If you have a good idea and believe that this idea will make you happy and make you, fulfill your dreams or your objectives. So this is the provocative one. Another key lesson is choose carefully what will be the project, especially for the IGEM competition, and design it not for 1 year for the competition, but design it as it is your dream to be done in the future. Choose your team, include in your team different disciplines we don't have yet, and find mentors in different disciplines. For example, in IGEM we have one principal investigator. We can have some co-IPs, but traditionally we have one. And we select one that is an expert or is somehow expert in city biology. This is a mistake. We need more people. And I learned a lot here that we need market experts, we need financial, law, everything. So it's difficult for us to find such mentors. And it's difficult for undergraduate students to follow all this in 1 year. So we have to make something that will participate in IGEM competition in 1 year, but will be our dream for the next years to come. I think this is one of the lessons. Thank
you. I would say personally, it is the mentality change that you see, because I have heard from a lot of young people that sometimes they don't want to do some things because they're shy, because they don't know how to do it. And I would say I was that person. It wasn't easy for me to go up to people to talk to them or annoy them, quote unquote, how I would feel. But I didn't like that version of me. So those competitions really put you out there, and you can change so many things about yourself. You can see yourself grow from those competitions, and they give you the opportunity to actually be the person you want to be and to go after opportunities that your past self would limit you from.
Great. Go on.
Maybe I have to repeat something Mr. Aivaliotis said before. You know, when participating in this kind of competitions, either it is an IGEM competition or an innovation challenge, the prize is just the milestone, not the destination. And previously I heard something about elitists. I will go on with Kavafis. You know, we are talking about destinations and journeys. So feel it like a journey where you have to experience things, and I think Kavafis applies excellent to to this point. So everything you need to take as a point for me, having participated in this competition, actually is two key things: persistence, being persistent, and having a great appetite for failures. Because by failing, you really get into the trouble, and as you said before, you make your hands dirty, and then comes the excellence part of your project. At the end, keep in mind that from a competition, you either win or you learn, but you never lose. So that's actually the mindset that we have to build in Greece. I would like also to be optimistic. Actually, we have forums like Bio3 that we are gathering all together. I hope that we have the same mindset on that, and I hope that we are going to build another Greece, more, successful on that, and basically on biotech. So yeah, that's actually my key lessons from that.
Yeah, thank you, Yanni, and everybody else. I would say that it's important to fail sometimes, before we're able to achieve things overall. This is something that we see a lot in the US from an investor perspective. I mean, you can have a first-time entrepreneur, being very successful, even a student, but that doesn't mean there's guarantee for the future. In the long run of things, you appreciate people who have done things, have failed, they got back up, and they did it again, and they win. So that's something really important, to appreciate the failure and how you have a winner that's able to move past the failure. Another point I want to say is I would love people to dream big, but have feet on the ground. So there are significant needs out there. So we need to be able to have a dream, have a vision, and go for it and achieve it. I know I have repeated this phrase a long time, but I think it's important, and this is what startups all about. This is the highest risk of any ventures they can have. So if the startups cannot change the world the way that we need and we should be done, who can do it? At the end of the day. So it begins from here, and then we'll so dream big, but feet on the ground. Listen to your network, listen to your advisors, and try to achieve that dream.
Thank you, all of you. So no fear to failure. Thanks to all our speakers for their insights, valuable insights. So now we would like to hear from you, the audience. Do we have any questions?
Which is asking intelligent questions to the AI and also realize that the AI is still hallucinating, right? So that you do have to cross-validate if you're making serious decisions on what answers you get. So maybe we need to go back to our roots and use the Socratic method, right? And be very skeptical. But it's not what AI to use, it's how you use it. That's more important.
We have a question. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, second question, how to use the money. How to use the money? You invest in yourself. What does that mean? That means you invest in education and knowledge that inspires you, that fuels your vision.
And I would add that Warren Buffett 100% agrees with what you said. You know, so.
And he's one of the most, and this is
May I have a point on what we have discussed about entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is not a game, it's not a toy, it is not a solution for a job-seeking procedure. It's a very tough job, very challenging, with a lot of risk. So the young boys and girls that they think to become an entrepreneur because they want to achieve something is not something different from, it's a very challenging way. So they have to learn first what are the risks of becoming entrepreneurs. It's not something opposite to find a job on the market. They have to create jobs for others at the end of the day. And this is the reason that globally we foster startup ecosystem. We need new companies that they create new job positions in order to create income and taxes. And I have one more question. How much financial literacy the new entrepreneurs have to have instead of a vision or a marketing idea? Because a lot of startups are marketing ideas. They don't count on financial, they don't understand what is the market. It's just a market idea. Good, it's the idea. How much of financial literacy the team of the entrepreneurs of a startup should have at the beginning, not at the more mature state, but because it's, by definition, they should have financial literacy on their hands. So, at the beginning, this is a question for my friend there. How much financial literacy as a new entrepreneur should have on the very beginning of their path to create the idea as a product?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. Great question as well. I think as much as possible is the answer. Obviously, nobody gets born with having the concrete knowledge to achieve things. But, you know, a part of being an entrepreneur means that, you know, you're always very active and you're trying, you know, to learn as much as possible because you have a goal. And you use all your efforts and your ecosystem around you, you know, team, you know, mentors, etc., to educate you, you know. And the best entrepreneurs are the ones who listen, you know, who listen to their advice. So I think it's very, very important to be able to have a concrete understanding of everything in the business. I think there was a quote for a CEO, okay, we're talking about large corporations, but I can make the analogy, to know about 60% of what, you know, the other C-level executives do in the company. That's marketing, that's finance, you know, etc. So, of course, you know, it's a risk mitigation strategy to know as much as possible in the beginning. That's not going to happen, for sure. So it's about having this mentality to know what you know and know what you don't know, and learn, continue learning, and surround the people around you that can help you, that can support you. We mentioned in another panel about, you know, the importance of having legal advice, quality legal advice, very early on. Same goes for financial and economics as well. So be able to be open and surround the people, yourself, you have people who can support you, it's important. And so the progress, that you learn something, don't repeat the same mistake. So that would be my answer to that.
That's an excellent point. Actually, this is the main problem that we have, the main problem that we don't realize what is the cost of doing that. So we think about ideas and we don't ground them in a way that they can be done. This is the main failure in undergraduate or postgraduate competitions regarding startups or innovation. So now we are trying in our university with Technology Transfer Office and the research officers to educate us, including me, how to estimate what is the cost, what is the effort outside the scientific part. The scientific part is the easy part, to have an idea, to try to do it. The difficult part is to estimate how you are going to support it in different ways.
I have one more question.
Okay, so this is like a poll between some statements and a question, but maybe have a bit in the last two questions answered, part of it. So something I haven't heard in the last days here, which might be an idea coming already, is that there's a phrase that says, people don't invest in ideas, people invest in people. Another one is people don't invest in something that they don't know or they don't understand. So coming to all that and the comments about, it's about the mindset and it's about this all of things and how entrepreneurs or students coming from the students and stuff, they're not prepared to have maybe from the mindset or it comes from the person. I don't know how much weight would that be, of course, from the idea and from the people, or how would that be on the investment side if they understand it or not? And also, wouldn't be this like one sector that I haven't seen since I graduated like so many years ago. I haven't seen any development on that, on this, if it's so important and this is what makes the real difference in an investment, in growing a project and so on, then why is anyone maybe pushing it harder on this, if someone wants to comment about it.
I can start with the people part that you mentioned. Thank you for the question. There's a big dilemma, obviously, in investing about where do you invest? You invest in the markets or you invest in the people? As you said, it's active dilemma. I see it every day in venture capital. Personally, I would say invest in people because these are the ones who can make things happen. If you get dazzled by the big markets, and tomorrow you have a regulation from the government that changes things and cut down some markets, and you invested into that, you're in trouble. People don't change so quickly. So if you see that people have been there, have done it, that's a very important thing, to have for the future, because the people that are experienced, they can make it happen again for you as an investor. And for me, people are the most important asset in a company. So I would say go with people, but also you need a big market, So it's a combination of things. But people, I think, would be the number one in my personal opinion for investment.
If I could add a short note on that, to answer where to invest, actually we have to answer why startup ventures, not only startup as a legal entity, fail. And the top three reasons I would say is people, people, and people. So it's actually the team that formulates the whole process and makes the impact on the society first and next the money, because actually the money comes as the next reason why startups fail, because they're losing their fuel, which is the money. So I would add this note.
I fully agree also. You have to combine all of them. So for sure, education is a way to start from the beginning, from students, to have in their mind that there are multiple factors that you have to combine and consider when you would like to go into this, let's say, field.
So, thank you again, and we are okay.